Welcome back. I'm Phil Spencer, and what a way for Middlesbrough fans to go into the international break. Things have really picked up in the last week or so. Results this week against QPR and against Luton have really propelled Middlesbrough back into the promotion mix, and a number of goals, some of which were absolutely stunning to watch, have got fans very, very excited about what the season ahead might have in store. Now, if this is your first time to the channel, welcome along, hope you enjoy what you're seeing. It's so exclusively Middlesbrough content on this channel. So if you are interested in that, then please do hit like and do hit subscribe as well. We're going to be running through all the biggest stories around Middlesbrough Football Club, a bit of pre-match action, a bit of post-match reaction from each game as well. In this one in particular is going to be a very fun one to do based on the fact that Middlesbrough came away with a 5-1 victory against Luton Town at the Riverside Stadium at the weekend. It was a game that just went completely Middlesbrough's way. From the start, Middlesbrough looked really at it. At the Riverside, there was a number of changes that Michael Carrick made, which left fans questioning a little bit, although the explanation was very clear that it was about managing minutes. The likes of Tommy Conway and Riley McGree in particular were left out of the starting 11. Emmanuel Latte came in. Delano Burgzorg came in on the left flank as well. And both of those players really had a kind of point to prove after you could say sort of losing their place over the last few weeks. I know Latte got a goal against QPR, but it was really his sort of a chance to kind of re-audition for his role as a starting centre forward against Luton. And boy, did he take it! He looked bright from the very start. Middlesbrough were dangerous from the off really against the Hatters. First things first, you've got to say about Luton that they looked absolutely terrible for a side who had just been relegated from the Premier League. I know that things haven't been going going well for them this season. Their position in the league table tells you exactly what you need to know about what's going on with them. But I certainly expected a lot more fight and a lot more spirit really from a side who put up such a stern test against some of the best teams in the country and in the world last season. They really fought their way through that Premier League season, and I kind of expected to see a little bit more of that at the Riverside from them, but it didn't really happen. And for Middlesbrough, it was just a game that completely played into their hands. I think barring the I guess the first 20-30 minutes when Luton did have their opportunities, they did push forward and did cause Middlesbrough problems. As soon as Middlesbrough found the back of the net, it was just really one-way traffic. Middlesbrough went 2-0 up before half-time, which was great for them. I think a lot of Middlesbrough fans who watch Middlesbrough on a regular basis kind of knew that that probably wasn't the sort of scoreline that would kind of make fans sit comfortably. There was always a sort of feeling that Middlesbrough might need to go and get another one just to really kind of put the game to bed, and they did exactly that, and scored another 2 goals quite early in the second half, which really put the game to bed. Middlesbrough sat back a little bit. From then, it was a little bit nervy to kind of watch, although the scoreline was in Middlesbrough's favour. But then obviously Finn Azaz popped up at the end with that absolute perler of a shot that went into the top corner of the net. Luton did get one back before the end of the match as well, which was a little bit frustrating because you did kind of think that a clean sheet would have been the final candle on the cake, I guess. On what was a pretty good afternoon for Middlesbrough, but it was certainly a day which went certainly to plan. There was some stunning attacking play on display. A lot of the players who I've mentioned before were absolutely outstanding, and it's just a really, really positive way to go into the November international break. Now you look at the stats, and you've got to probably say that based on, I guess, this week as a whole compared to the rest of the season, but Middlesbrough probably weren't as dominant against Luton as what they have been in other games. The amount of chances that we created, it was a decent amount of chances. You can see it there, the 11 shots and the 6 on target. Middlesbrough have probably been recording more shots than that in most of the games, particularly at home over the course of this campaign. Their passing has been better. They've dominated possession a little bit better. Obviously, it's 53% there against Luton. A lot of the time earlier this season, we've been getting closer to 60 and 65% possession, really dominating time on the ball, but not really doing a lot with it. And against Luton, it was just sort of a performance where, barring the I don't know, barring the cliche, everything just sort of kind of clicked into place. Middlesbrough weren't completely fluent. They didn't have things all their own way. They weren't passing the ball around for fun for the entirety of the match, but it was a performance where when they did get into those goal-scoring positions, they were just so ruthless. Middlesbrough's first goal from Delano Burgzorg came as a result of a set piece, which was a shock in itself. Middlesbrough do not have a particularly good record of late at scoring from corners and free kicks. So that was a really well-worked goal, actually, with Delano Burgzorg coming in and slotting home. He then subsequently got booked for going and celebrating with the fans in the South Stand, and it's always a bit of a frustrating one when players do get booked for doing that. But you could see just how much the goal meant to him, and you could see how much it meant to the club as well, because it was it was a really important game against Luton, one that Middlesbrough really needed to try and get a victory from, and so that goal was a big boost for the team, you've got to say. But for Delano Burgzorg as well, it's been a season which hasn't really gone how we would have hoped since he joined the club over the summer. He's kind of struggled for regular starts, and so it was really his opportunity against Luton to show what he could do. And he got to say that he was very impressive. He performed a great partnership with Emmanuel Lath on that day. And Latte got his goal as well. He did score against QPR. A lot was made of the goal at Loftus Road, and the fact that he took on the goalkeeper twice before slotting it home, and people saying it was the most Latte goal that you're ever likely to see, where it was his pace got him into a really positive position, but then maybe his feet were moving slightly too fast for his head, and he almost messed up the chance. But the goal against Luton was nothing short of superb. A clipped ball from Azaz from midfield, chested down by Latte in the penalty area. He then performed a really neat sort of Cruyff turn type of move in the penalty area to put the defender on his backside, and then he slotted home with a really good finish. That was a really positive goal. Second half, it was a really good one as well. Ben Doak, I'm going to get onto him in a little bit later because he is just absolutely superb. He's so exciting to watch. He was instrumental to Azaz getting his goal. He burst down the right, slotted it back to Azaz, who smashed the ball into the top corner, a really assured finish. Burgzorg then got another goal when Emmanuel Latte went through on goal, slotted him through, and he tapped home to make it 4-0. And then obviously Azaz, I mentioned it before, that goal that he picked up, getting the ball on the I guess you could say the left hand side of the penalty area, cutting onto his right foot, letting fly, and then just holding his hands up by that, saying, "This is what I do. I'm Azaz. I've got this quality. If any of you fans have been questioning me, that's on you, because this is what I can do." And he really showed that. Azaz is just a quality operator. I know he's been getting a little bit of criticism this season because sometimes his final ball isn't perfect. Sometimes he gets the final pass wrong, but I think that's just the nature of having a creative sort of player. He does things that other players aren't prepared to do, and not all creative players are going to be able to pull it off every single time, unless you're Kevin De Bruyne or Phil Foden in the Premier League. I think those kind of moves, they don't always come off, but the fact that he keeps doing it, he keeps getting on the ball, he keeps looking to play those intricate passes, threading it through the line of the defence to find an attacker. It was really positive from him. His creative play was brilliant, but the fact that he's now starting to score a few goals as well is really encouraging. And so for Middlesbrough fans, that's a great thing, and something that we can look forward to, hopefully, of seeing a little bit more of moving forward. So in terms of the match stats, it was perhaps not quite as dominant as what we've seen in previous weeks, but who cares? We won 5-1. That's what it's all about. I think a lot of fans would have quite happily sacrificed a little bit of possession or a few more shots on goal for a slightly more clinical edge, and that's what Middlesbrough were. They were clinical, they were ruthless. When they did get into those goal scoring positions, boy, did they punish Luton, and that was a really positive thing to see. In terms of my player ratings, I'm not going to run through each player individually. You can see them there, just how highly rated I thought Middlesbrough's team were at the weekend. Seny Dieng, he did really well. Made a couple of really good saves, you've got to say, throughout the match. His distribution was a little bit questionable at times, which is why I've maybe marked him down slightly compared to what he could have been. But yeah, a really, really good display from him. George Edmondson was dominant once again. It came out after the match that he'd actually had a bit of a stomach bug in the run up to the match. Apparently he was sick twice on the pitch at the Riverside during the match, once in the first half and once in the second half. So the fact that he was able to carry on playing and put in such a dominant performance was outstanding. He obviously was then brought off the day off Rye, who came on, but yeah, a really dominant performance from Edmondson. Ayling did well, slotting in at left back. Neto Borges was missing for that game. So Ayling used his experience to slot in on the left. Anthony Dyke still played at right back, and it was another really, really impressive showing from him. I've done another video just recently about just the problem that Anthony Dyke still is causing Michael Carrick, just because of how well he's played and how Michael Carrick won't have been expecting it this season. But he's been so good, defensively really solid, but also more than happy to get on the ball and get forward and cause some real problems. Middlesbrough's midfield two of Hackney and Morris, again, absolutely outstanding. Morris put in a real all-action display. A little moment that was forgotten in the first half was when he blocked an effort from point-blank range from Luton to keep Middlesbrough in the game at that point. That was a real turning point and one which Middlesbrough were able to build on. Morris has just been absolutely outstanding since he came to the club over the summer. I was thinking about this yesterday, actually. Just you really kind of struggle to think of a game where he hasn't done well. I think coming over from the MLS, there was always going to be a bit of a question mark and a bit of a, I don't know, will he be able to adapt to life into the Championship in the first place? Will he be able to show the consistency that's sort of needed? I think even players who typically do well coming from places like the MLS, they do well, but they do often have bad weeks, or they kind of need a little bit of time to adapt to the physicality. But he just really looks like he's slotted in perfectly, and he's just been, in my opinion, probably one of the signings of the season, not just for Middlesbrough, but in the Championship as a whole. Excuse me. Hayden Hackney, again, really positive performance from him. He was breaking between the lines. He was really just kind of dictating things in the middle of the park, and he was linking up with the attacking quartet, who did really, really well as well. We mentioned about Delano Burgzorg. He really took his opportunity. His confidence skyrocketed after he scored that goal, and he was trying flicks and tricks along the way as well, which was positive to see. It was something that he could get away with when Middlesbrough were so dominantly in the lead, but it was a really good audition from him for getting more game time in the weeks to come. Finn Azaz, we've mentioned, who was absolutely outstanding, Middlesbrough's best on the day, and that's why I've given him a 10 out of 10 10 out of 10 rating for his performance. His creativity, his dropping into midfield, but also his finishing in front of goal, just absolutely brilliant. Such an encouraging display. Ben Doak, I'm going to get onto him shortly because I've got so much to say about him. He was absolutely outstanding once again, giving him a 9 out of 10. And Emmanuel Latte was just so lively. He's a really tricky kind of time over the last few weeks. Tommy Conway has taken that centre forward spot, and deservedly so, you've got to say, because Conway's been outstanding as well. But Lath came into the team, performed really well. Very high energy player, got his goal as well. And it was just a really positive performance from him, and one which has kind of created a really positive problem for Michael Carrick. He's now got so many players in attacking areas who are in form and know where the back of the net is, and that's going to be a really positive thing for Middlesbrough as they move into the winter months. Fixtures are going to pile up. There's going to be a lot of games to play, and the fact that Middlesbrough at the moment have Latte, Lath, and Conway, who are both fit and in form, is going to be a really, really positive thing for the team moving forward. So then we move on to the talents of Ben Doak, who was just absolutely outstanding once again. I think since he's come to Middlesbrough, he's just been an absolute breath of fresh air. He had to wait a little bit of time to break into that first team. I think Izzy Jones had that spot sort of nailed down. But since then, Ben Doak has come in and he's just really just shown his absolute quality. I was watching him quite closely against Luton at the weekend, and it's just the fact of his maturity more than anything. He's a young lad, he's a talent, but what you do find is that a lot of these young players, they do sort of go chasing the game a little bit. They go drifting in field, trying to get on the ball, trying to make things happen, trying to do really complicated things to show what they're about, to show that they're capable of playing at the highest level. Middlesbrough have had people on loan from Premier League clubs before who would come down and they're a bit of a fancy Dan, I guess, to use that phrase. I don't think I've ever used that phrase before in my life, but some players do that, and they come down and they think they're just absolutely the bee's knees and are there to just rip up the Championship. They end up not doing the right things. They end up not digging in and doing what they need to do. But Ben Doak has just been absolutely outstanding. He plays on the right wing. He knows what his role is. He knows what he's there to do. He knows that he's there to get on the ball, drive at defenders, and that's what his game is about. He doesn't get frustrated when the ball doesn't come to him. He doesn't go drifting in field looking for the ball or dropping back to her to get it in the wrong positions. He just holds his position. He stays high, he stays wide. He knows that ball's going to come to him because that's what the Middlesbrough team have been drilled to do. So he knows that ball's going to be coming to him whenever possible. And so he stays there, he can preserve his energy. And that means that when the ball does come to him, he can be absolutely electric. We did see it against Luton, just how quick he is, how powerful he is on the ball as well. He's a really powerful runner. He's someone who loves to get at his man. He's got the pace to get around them. He's got the trickery to get around them. His final ball as well is absolutely outstanding. I know he got a couple of assists and did really well from that point of view, but there was a couple of really good balls into the box that he pulled off as well, which were outstanding, which Middlesbrough weren't able to convert. And yeah, I think from my point of view, excuse me, Ben Doak is just a brilliant player, someone who Middlesbrough are very, very lucky to have. And you can see exactly why he's so highly rated at Liverpool. Jurgen Klopp absolutely loved him last season. Arne Slot really rates him very highly at Liverpool as well. And so you can see exactly why he's not someone who is likely to be available for a permanent transfer for Middlesbrough. Unfortunately, as much as I'd love him to stay at Middlesbrough permanently, I just can't see it happening. He seems like a player, he's a Premier League player in the making. I do expect him to head back to Anfield at the end of the season. It's not out of the question that he could go back in January, given how well he's performed. But hopefully for Middlesbrough, they'll be able to keep hold of him. And yeah, he can be a player who can really kind of spearhead our attacking play going into the second half of the season. He's such a talent. He's such an exciting player to watch. I've seen people on social media just comparing him to some of the more exciting players that we've had over the years. And I think when he gets on the ball, he's just got that sort of almost like Adama Traore-esque excitement. You just don't know what's going to happen when he gets on the ball, but you've got to say that he is better than Traore because you know that final ball is going to be brilliant, and that's why it's been so excellent coming into Michael Carrick's team. He's so young, he's hungry, he's got a bit of that, a bit of that sort of devil in him as well. He loves winding up the opposition as well, which is I personally love to see because I think he just shows real character for players on the pitch. And yeah, it's just been absolutely outstanding for Middlesbrough, someone who I've enjoyed watching so much so far, and I really hope that he can kick on and show even more of that as the season unfolds. So yeah, coming after the Luton game, Middlesbrough did move into the top six of the Championship table temporarily. After Sunday's games, they did drop into seventh place, but you've got to say, looking at the table, it's not a bad position to be in. Middlesbrough have been far from their best during this little cluster of fixtures. There's been a couple of really kind of disappointing results, and things haven't really gone Middlesbrough's way. And a fair few of the games, really, you got to look, there's been 5 defeats so far this season, 3 draws. We've scored an all right amount of goals, but we've also conceded a few as well, certainly more than some of the teams that are above us, occupying those top 4 or 5 spots. But for Middlesbrough to be in 7th position, 1 point off the top 6, ready to go into this festive run of fixtures, I think it's a decent enough spot to be in. I've spoken quite a lot about how I don't want Middlesbrough to be in that position of having to be in the chasing pack. I want them to be in those promotion spots and just going about their business, chipping away, adding points to their tally and doing their thing. I don't want Middlesbrough to be in a spot where they're where they're playing catch up, or they're where we're playing this silly game of, oh, well, if we can just get these 3 points, we can close the gap, or like, oh, we're only 6 points off, so we just need to get a couple of wins and then we're back there. We need to be in and amongst it well and truly during this whole time. We can't afford to fall away. And I think with Middlesbrough in their current position, 1 point off the top 6, I think that's a decent enough standing at the moment. But it's going to be so important going into December, making sure that Middlesbrough maintain this run of form, can really keep pace with those clubs above them, because it's during December and January that the league really starts to take shape. And so it's so important that Middlesbrough can stay in those sorts of positions moving forward if we are serious about going for promotion. So you've heard from me. You've heard what I think about the Luton game, about Ben Doak, about how Middlesbrough are doing in the promotion battle. But I'm really keen to hear from you. Please drop into the comments below I want to hear about Ben Doak in particular because of just how excited I am watching him. Please do let me know what you think of him. How good is he? How good can he be? And do you think Middlesbrough have any chance of being able to keep him beyond this season? Drop into the comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are, and let me know your thoughts on the Luton game, because it was just a brilliant game to watch. Some outstanding attacking play. All of our attacking players seem to be hitting form at the same time, which is really, really exciting. So please do, drop into the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. And if you have enjoyed this video, hit like as well. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe as well. There's going to be a lot more Middlesbrough content coming over the coming weeks and months. Hopefully my voice holds up. It's a little bit raspy today, but there'll be a lot more content coming in the coming weeks and months. So please do hit subscribe, and I will catch up with you next time.